Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Wednesday, the 23rd of November. Today with Robert Murray McShane, we continue reading through Luke and read Luke chapter 7. And in the chapter, Jesus has a discussion about John the Baptist and his ministry and the role that he played. And then he says in verse 28, "I tell you, among those born of women, there is no one greater than John. Yet the one who is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he." And today, as I read it and thought about things, suddenly I had one of those aha moments, and it's almost like the penny dropped. So I've often read that and struggled. So John's the greatest born of women, but the least in the kingdom of God is greater than he. So does that mean John's not actually that great, or that Christians are all better than John the Baptist, or what does it mean? How do I get my head around this? And it's one of those verses that I've been able to read, be puzzled by, and then move on. Think, I'll have to come back to that at some point. But today, as I was reading it, I suddenly thought that Jesus is saying, among those born of women, no one's greater than John. John is the greatest person that has ever lived, because he has seen the kingdom that clearly. He got people to turn back to God. He was the one that baptized the Messiah. You don't get, sort of, in terms of human achievement, you don't get better than that. And no matter how rich you are or whatever else you've got, sort of John, you don't get better than John. From God's perspective, John was the top. But Jesus says, the one who's least in the kingdom of God is greater than he, saying that on earth John is the best, but even the best on earth is insignificant compared to the least in the kingdom of God. And so it's not that sort of comparison of John and other people and Christians. It's comparing what the statuses are on earth compared to statuses in eternity. And the person that is in God's kingdom, that is at the wedding supper of the Lamb, that is seeing God face to face and has been told, "Well done, good and faithful servant," and has been welcomed in as a brother of Christ and or sister of Christ, and is part of God's family in eternity. No matter how menial your position is, that position is better than the very best that the earth has to offer. And so as Christians, we need to hang on to that. It doesn't matter what other people have got. It doesn't matter how much money they've got. It doesn't matter how successful they may seem. The greatest person on earth, the greatest human being that has ever lived, John the Baptist, on earth, no matter how great they are, it is insignificant compared with being in eternity, in heaven. If you're in the kingdom of heaven, the least is better than the best on earth. And so when we get to heaven, John, no doubt, will not be the least in the kingdom of heaven. He will still be one of the greats of the kingdom. But the least in the kingdom is better than the best on earth. So as Christians, we hang on to that. We live on earth like John did, and we make a difference, and we do what we can, and we try and change people, and we do live to glorify God, and we make the most of this life. But there's more to this life. Remember that, and be blessed.